Hi there. My name's Adrian, and welcome back to the CPS report. This time we have for you One Championship 168, which is taking place, speaking under correction, but at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's correct. I've just got confirmation from my producer. All right. Anyway, I know, guys, right now you're probably asking yourself, Adrian, but what do you know about One Championship? And you might be right, but luckily I have with me today the reigning, defending, undisputed vegan champion of the world. That is, of course, Brother Gaia.
Listen. How's it
How
going?
you
How's
doing,
it going,
Brother
Eddie?
Gaia? You
Thank you
good,
for that
yeah?
intro, bruh. That was wonderful. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Amped
Fantastic.
about this fight
And
card.
away, of course, of course. Big things going on, but also with us today, ladies and gentlemen. This man is undefeated as a father. You might know him as Mr. Brazil around here. We know him as George Jetson. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jedi Knight. How you doing, Jedi?
Good, thanks. Happy to be part of the One Championship in America.
America, bro, land of the free.
Yeah,
So let's get into it. Boys. And we, of course, are going to start at the top of the card, where we have Jonathan the General Haggerty, who is coming up against the kicking machine Superlek.
Mm.
Jonathan Haggerty, of course, coming into this fight with a 7-2 Muay Thai record, 1-0 as a kickboxer. He's on a 6-fight win streak. Last time out, Felipe Lobo, where he won by TKO in the third round. Superlek 10-0 in Muay Thai, 4-1 kickboxing. Is on a 10-fight win streak, and his last fight against Kong Thorani Somai.
Mhm.
Of course, the well-known fighter there. So I'm gonna, of course, take it to the experts now, and we'll begin with One Championship's number one fan. It's, of course, Brother Gaia. How do you see this playing out? You know?
Well done, well done. AD, just before we continue, I just want to add to a little bit of the introduction there. The fight is at 2 a.m. South African time, and it is taking place this Saturday on the 8th of September. So yeah, in this fight, AD, I am super amped because this is the top of the food chain when it comes to the One Championship. There's no one really any better than these two gentlemen that will be taking place in headline in the Denver card. Also, by the way, it's the One Championship second US fight card, so that you can expect it to be sold out really quickly. How do I see this fight playing out? It's very interesting because I almost want to place Superlek as like the ultimate blueprint for Muay Thai and kickboxing. However, Jonathan Haggerty is the one that's undefeated in kickboxing, although he only had the one fight against Lobo. The two styles are very different. I think Jonathan Haggerty is a lot more um, got more of a higher volume output, and that's landing 38 obviously significant strikes in total since he's been in the One Championship, and also having an output of 4 strikes per minute in almost every of his fights. So you can guarantee that he's going to look to throw a lot of his combos, his elbows, and utilize almost every part of the Muay Thai, 8 out of 8 limbs. However, Haggerty has fought Rodtang twice, and I know it was at flyweight, but he lost both those fights a little bit. One would argue that the losses has gone down to somewhat of his conditioning because of having to make that weight at flyweight. Now being at bantamweight, I think Haggerty's filled himself out really well. He's packed on the right amount of muscle mass. But again, he's lost to Rodtang twice, whereas Superlek has beaten Rodtang in not necessarily Superlek's last fight, but one of his most recent bouts, he took on Rodtang and beat him. Yes, Superlek came in a bit of overweight in that fight, which is quite interesting because in this fight, this is at bantamweight. Superlek is going up a weight class from flyweight, and which is what I think is going to be the thing that's going to be Superlek's most dangerous opponent is his actual weight cut. I think he might have the tools to beat Haggerty because I do think he's very elusive. He is labeled as the kicking machine, and he don't get that name for nothing. Superlek beating a lot of good fighters. You mentioned Ko Thongwani in his last outing, and Thongwani was heavy up and coming fighter, also Lupini Muay Thai Championship, Lupini champion before, and Superlek has beaten him, beaten Takeru. If you haven't seen the Takeru fight, go watch the Takeru fight. Absolutely threaded that man's legs. Again, I said he beat Rod Tang, fighters like Daniel Williams, who are also very, very high ranked, high sort of big stapled names in the Muay Thai division or Muay Thai sport. One thing I will add to that, to Jonathan Haggerty, he's the two sport champion currently, so he's defending both titles in two sports, that's kickboxing and Muay Thai. In a nutshell, how do I see this fight play out? I know I said in the beginning I'm going to go with the Super League, which this is the first time I'm actually going to be going against Jonathan Haggerty here. I think Super League might just have a little bit more to offer, even though Haggerty is the more volume output fighter. Just think that Super League might come in with a little bit more power into his strikes. And he's very creative, the way he sets up his kicks. It's not like one kick thrown at a time. He's very, very creative. And one thing he did mention is my last point here. One thing he did mention in his fight, his last fight against Kong Thawani, was that he utilized the kick that he learned from Takeru. Now, Jade, I'm not sure if you can remember that fight where Superlek took on Takeru, and then there was a moment in the fight where Superlek just like almost got shut down. Like just we can remember there was a moment in the fight where he just threw his hands down. He looked like he was completely gassed.
Yeah.
So what had happened there in that instance was that Takeru threw a particular deep kick that Superlek has never seen before, and that kind of like took the wind out of his sails. And then Superlek utilized that exact deep kick in the Kong Thawani, which was very which is one of the key things that utilized or got him the victory in that fight. And the deep kick comes from it's almost like a roundhouse. So instead of the traditional pushing forward kind of deep kicks, it comes from a roundhouse and then throws the balls of the feet into your ribs. Beautiful, beautiful deep kick, almost like just taking away your gas tank completely. And I think that's maybe something very importantly used in this fight, considering that Haggerty is a taller fighter as well.
So you're going with Superlek?
Yeah, I'm going with Superlek in this one.
How do you think he gets it done? You think he's going to finish him or decision?
You see, if this was at flyweight, I'd say Superlek win by finish, probably TKO or a 3 knockdown. But because they're fighting at bantamweight, and this is the weight where Haggerty has filled out really well, his conditioning is absolutely insane. But he still has taken damage. If you look at his fight against Lobo in the previous outing, he got knocked down in that fight. But then Lobo is also quite a big bantamweight. So I don't think Superlek puts Jonathan Haggerty away, but I do see him winning the fight over 5 rounds.
All right. Okay, so brother Guy going with Superlek there. Jedi, what are you saying, bro?
I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. It's also
very even
rematch fight where Super League has won the first one, but that was at the flyweight. I think Haggerty obviously wants revenge. The common opponent they have is Rotang, obviously, and before Super League really kind of came onto the scene, Rotang and Haggerty was like the best guys in the Muay Thai and kickboxing. And Rotang beat Haggerty twice on decision. But I feel almost like, it was such a close fight, you can't really pick between them for me. But and then you have the Super League and Rotang fight where we saw our Super League easily outpowered him and muscled him and, just kind of control the fight and done what he wanted to do. As like Ross said, he did come in overweight, so that was a bit of a thing. He's always had asterisks there now. But Super League is the man when it comes to the Muay Thai and kickboxing world, right? I feel like Haggerty is going to surprise him in this fight. I feel like Haggerty is going to make it a much more even bout. Also, time has passed now, so he's become better, obviously. And he's a lot bigger than what he was. You know what I mean? You can see that dude is quite filled out. He's like a strong and he's taller than Super League as well. So I feel like he's gonna surprise Super League, bro. I'm actually leaning towards Haggerty 5 rounds.
What?
Just because I feel like he's gonna be too big. He's gonna be too fit
Yeah,
for Super
to
League
condition
to
him.
put away. And
Mm,
I like Super League. I've watched a lot of his fights,
yeah,
and one thing that's noticeable about him is that he fades in the last 2 rounds. He gets
yeah.
slower.
He gets
And
very slow at the end. Yeah.
of all the fights that I've seen, Haggerty, he's like he's never tired. He's either all the way in or he's not. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I feel like this fight, he's gonna surprise us, dude. I think he wins on 5 round
decision.
decision. Mm. Yeah.
So
Yo,
the
yo.
brothers once again making a betting man's life very
Look,
difficult. They're split directly down the middle. But ladies and gentlemen,
look,
let
look.
us know in the comments what you think will happen between these two fighters. Very
Before
close to call. Yeah, brother
before you
Guy,
move on,
please.
Eddie. Sorry.
No, no,
Before
no.
you
Go
move
for
on
it.
there.
Go for it. I'm in no
Um,
rush whatsoever.
look, that's what I was gonna say, which it, like when I did add on my one as well, was that because he's pulled out and stuff, I don't see Super League necessarily finishing Jonathan Haggerty. But then it comes down to a battle of nutrition and like who's gonna actually go the 5 rounds the hardest. And Jid makes very good points that it's a toss up basically
Mm.
because both of
And
us are making really good
one
arguments there.
thing that I've noticed also is that the Thailand fighters struggle against the Japanese guys because the Japanese kickboxing, the
Mm.
output is much more, and
It's very high. Yeah,
it's like a higher pace versus the
yeah.
Muay Thai guys fight at a slower pace, but they explode into their stuff. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they don't really get
Mm-hmm.
tired, but they always like they'll go slow, and then when they attack, they're going hard, right?
Mm.
And going back to what Ross said, that Haggerty's output is so high, especially compared to Super League. That's why I feel
Mm.
like he's gonna surprise this dude because the
Mm.
pace that he's gonna put on and the power that he's
Yeah,
gonna put out is gonna be
yeah.
probably the probably the best and the hardest that Super League's ever gonna face.
Mm.
That's why I think that
Mm.
Haggerty's gonna surprise him. Also being that he's a taller guy.
He's
So it's
bigger.
gonna be
Yeah.
harder for Super League to close the distance on him, especially if
Mm.
Haggerty's gonna be throwing deep
Mm-hmm.
kicks and all that kind of fancy
Yeah.
things.
Also, my last point before we move on there is just to correct Jedi there. That when Agadi and Rodtang fought the second time, Rodtang won TKO in the third round. I remember that body shot that
Oh,
just
sorry.
like folded him. Anyway, but yeah, I can see Jed's points. Then it's dude, it's hard to argue against those, and it's also very hard to argue against Super League because
Yeah.
he's super intense, bro. Super intense. And he's gotten a lot more creative with his strikes over the last 3 fights that he's had. Um, so yeah, it's a toss up. It's a toss up.
So first you
What
said
does the
Super League,
bookies
now you're
have it?
saying it's a toss up. Or you're sticking with
Well,
Super League for the result.
no, I'm still no. I'm still sticking with Super League. I mean, the comment people can decide what they think there, but it's just that close, man. And what I'm trying to say is,
Mm.
even though I'm going with Super League, I don't disagree with what Jade's saying because that's also what would make if I were to choose Agadi, that would be the reason why I would say Agadi as well. But I'm going with Super League here.
Mm, mm, mm.
He's been very
Okay.
active, man. Super League has been very active in 2024.
Mm.
Agadi has only fought once over the last cup. If I go to his thing here, he's only fought once in 2024. It was Feb 16th of February. His last fight before that was November 3rd. And then Super League has been
That's
consistently
fine,
going.
bro.
Super League has fought
That's enough time.
January, twice in January, and then he fought September in 2023.
Okay.
He's been more
That's
active
all
this
right.
year.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we're going to keep it moving. So obviously a very close fight there. And like I said, please let us know in the comments what your thoughts are.
Mm.
Okay, gentlemen, next up, we're going to go to the lightweight submission grappling world championship, where we have the lightweight champion, Kade Ruotolo, taking on the flyweight champion, Mike Musumeci. Rasmus, you and myself were watching a bit of Kade a few days ago.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I thought you had some really great insights there. So yeah, do you see Kade getting it done here, or do you think Mikey's
Mm.
got something for him? What do you see happening here, bro?
So yeah, it's look again. This is a very very difficult fight to sort of pick a clear cut winner because I don't think you can. Both these guys are champions. The one being the lightweight champion, grappling champion in the one FC, and Mikey Musumeci is the flyweight grappling champion at the moment. And this fight, as you can see on screen, it's taking place in lightweight. So Mikey Musumeci is having to go up the weight, which I don't think will be a problem for him because he does have quite a bit of a weight cut. I remember you were talking about he just does a full carb diet most of the
Yeah.
time. But Kade Ruotolo just recently fought, if I'm not mistaken, the weekend of Drickus versus Izzy. Kade Ruotolo had fought on the Craig Jones Invitational Jiu-Jitsu competition and won that one, by the way. Looking really, really tough, looking really insane. But I mean, what can you expect? He's Kade Ruotolo fights. He's one of the quickest, fastest oaks in the one championship in terms of getting through transitions, getting the submission as well. However, both these guys are undefeated, 7-0. Kade Ruotolo, one of that wins has come in MMA, which could be something that you could see in this fight, even though it's not an MMA fight. MMA grappling could be something that he could go to. Because I'm not sure if Mikey Messia has gotten any MMA experience. Both these guys have fought Shinya Yoki, big names. Also have to put this out there. Both these guys have fought former world champions in BJJ in the one championship. So don't let any of the names sort of fool you if you haven't really heard of any of who they are. For example, Mikey Musumeci has beaten Jared Brooks, who's the current strawweight MMA interim champion in the one FC. And Jared Brooks is an intense grappler. However, in this fight, I think I think Kade Ruotolo might just end up being a little bit more like he's bigger. He's like I say, he's the lightweight, and he's a very big lightweight as well. And if you look at the two styles and how they both grapple, Mikey doesn't necessarily look to transition a lot and sort of negate the grappling changes by shooting for takedowns. He's a guard grappler. Very slick once they get to the ground because that's his world, obviously. But I think he might come up short against Kade Ruotolo here because I think Kade adds a bit more of the dynamic in terms of, like I said, these transitions are super quick. And having also fought in MMA and now experiencing what that grappling is like, I think he might add that dynamic to this one. And we could see Kade Ruotolo defend his lightweight strap.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really seen much of him myself, but what I did see was just super slick, bruh. And just like I think I said to you, just the speed of thought, some of the things that he sees, like that, like you'd never see it, and next thing you know, is Braz going for a submission, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know what I mean? It's like that good. But yeah, Jedi, your thoughts, please, sir.
I think it's gonna be a fun thing to see. I mean, it's gonna build a lot of hype. Both dogs are champions, and that's cool. Both dogs have blown out the division. You know what I mean, and that's why
literally.
Mikey's coming up. I personally think it's gonna be a whitewash.
Whoa!
I think.
Whoa!
I think Kade is just gonna take him down, smother him, and pass guard and do what he wants. Usually, when a really good small guy versus a really good big guy, the really good big guy wins. I know it's jiu-jitsu, and then there's be people and be like, "Oh, but size doesn't matter," and all of this thing, and jiu-jitsu you can do this fun stuff. But I don't think that's gonna happen. You, like I said, they're both champions, and the one is like 20 pounds lighter than the other guy. I think he's just gonna ragdoll this boy. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think he's gonna defend liquor, do whatever, but ultimately, I think it's just gonna be Kade on top doing what he wants to do. That's how I see the fight going. Because this man is like 135, the other guy is 165. That's a 30-pound difference. I think I'm gonna ragdoll this boy.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun to watch. But I don't think
it's gonna be fun to watch a Braga get ragdoll.
Yeah.
But I think you can expect a very high level match though.
Strangely enough, I don't see any betting odds here for the grappling.
For this fight, that's shocking. Yeah. That's very shocking.
But there seems to be odds for everything else, which is quite strange. But anyway, so you guys are both going with Kade?
Yeah. It looks like we're both going with Kade. You see, also, AD, with the thing with Kade is that I think this could be something that's going to pay dividends in the fight here, is that because he's always the one that's putting the puzzle together. Basically, he's the one that's moving the pieces. He's the one that's dictating the pace. He's the one that's really moving the game to where he wants it to be. And Mikey is notorious for almost sucking the opponent in. Where he applies a little bit of pressure, but more to almost get you to it's like he forces you to come into his guard, and that's where he does his best work. Where Cade will do anything, bro. I've seen this guy get takedowns where he's jumping off the cage with people and then bringing them down. I was like, what the hell is this man doing? And it taps people out. You know what I mean? Even though Mikey's got the higher finishing rate in the one championship, he's got more submissions to his name in the one championship. Just in Cade's overall game is very, very frightening. And like Jed said, he's much bigger.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So both of our panelists going for Kade Ruotolo here. So if you can find a website to place a bet, be sure to lock it in. All right, boys. We're going to keep it moving now. And that means we are going to a catchweight fight in Muay Thai, where we have Liam Harrison, who is 38 years old. I found out he's 2-3. His last fight against Nong Ohama, where he lost by first round TKO, and he's fighting against Seksan or Kanumang, but more commonly known as the man who yields to no one. He's of course 8-1. He was on an 8-fight win streak before losing to Yutaro Asahi by unanimous decision. So yeah, bro, like I said, Liam Harrison, 38 years old here. So Jed, I'll go to you first here. Do you see age being a factor here, or do you think Liam has enough to get it done?
I think it's like a coin flip fight. They both in their late 30s, I think. Both guys love to come and fight and stand in front of the other guy and kick and whatever. I think Liam is probably quicker because he's smaller. From what I've watched from him, also he does seem faster, probably better hands also. But Seksan looks like he's a man of bricks, bro. Like he's a rock wall. You know what I mean? It's hard to, This dude can fight, and he's very, very durable. Like I'm saying, he's very durable because of the last fight that I watched him in. You know what I mean? Where he lost against Asai, but you can see he's a very skillful kickboxer as well. So for me, dude, I'm gonna lean towards power and size. I think Seksan might win this fight. I think the main thing is also gonna play the difference in this fight may be that it's at a much higher altitude. You know what I mean? How you know what I mean? Like how are the Asian fighters gonna perform in Denver? That's gonna be like, you know what I mean, a big question. And it's at high altitude where the air is much thinner, so you tend to gas out faster. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I'm gonna go with Seksan just because I feel like both guys are on the even playing field in terms of skill, but I feel like power is always a thing.
Yeah.
Ross, are you agreeing with that? Do you think power is going to have the biggest say here, or do you see it a little bit differently?
Well, the thing about power in this fight is that it's fairly even. Like, Liam Harrison has got some heavy hands, dude. Like when he does start throwing him, and actually they're very quick. He puts people out, especially if we noticed in Liam Harrison's fight before his last fight, where he fought Muang Thai. If you can watch that fight back, Liam Harrison got dropped twice in that fight, came back and then put down Muang Thai, like dropped him 3 times. I was like, what the hell is going on here, bro? It's absolutely insane. But Liam Harrison's got that that British Bulldog heavy hooks, and it's super quick. Doesn't throw a lot of leg kicks, which I think he should utilize in this fight, because if he doesn't, he's not going to stop the forward pressure of the man who heals to nobody, Seksan. But Liam Harrison is definitely quicker. But I think that Seksan is definitely, like Jed said, which I think is going to be the one that's going to play very important important in this fight, the key factor would be his durability. However, being 35 years old and the way his durability has got tested in the last fight against Asahi.
Sure.
However, Asahi, one thing you have to add into this, Asahi is a champion coming out of Japan, coming into the one championship as well. So he's not a small fry. All right, he's pretty badass.
But also, Liam Harrison hasn't fought in 2 years.
Yes.
Man hasn't fought in 2 years.
Where Seksan has
The
been
guy is
busy.
very active.
Yeah, super busy, like super busy. And also, mind you, that Seksan has been on a 8-fight win streak before he lost his last one. So he was tearing up the one championship. But this is at catch weight for sure, so that might be something that we have to look out for. He did say that the altitude may pay dividends in this fight, or it could be a big factor for both these guys, particularly for the Asian fighters. But I'm gonna go with the man who yields to nobody, guys, because with a nickname like that. And I've watched a lot of his fights, and I'm like, he doesn't really lose. He doesn't really get pushed back, and he comes back from usually after the first round. You see him figure out opponents, and then he's just like it just goes his way from there. So you can expect Seksan to get the W on this one.
All right, so there you have it, everybody. You can expect Seksan to get the W on this one. The man to heal.
Sorry to stop you there. And lastly, it's just because he has more tools, man. He knows how to utilize the elbows, the knees, the low kicks, high kicks, a little bit more than Liam Harrison does. Liam Harrison usually relies on his boxing combinations.
He's a local to the Muay Thai. You see, he's a local.
So I think Seksan gets it done for sure.
All right, so the man who yields to nobody to get it done. Are we in agreement here, gentlemen? Jedi, final answer?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so the man who yields to no one, hopefully he can yield some kind of profit this weekend. Anyway, guys, let's keep it moving. And next up, we are going to the middleweight division, and it's MMA. And we have Aung La En Sang, who is 14-3 in the one championship with an 86% finish rate. His last fight against Fan Song, where he won by round 2 submission. And he's coming up against Shamil Erdogan, who is 1-0 in the one championship. Last fight, Fan Rong, where he won by second round knockout. All right, gentlemen, it's that time again. And let us go to Ross first time here. Ross, your thoughts. How do you see this playing out, bro?
I think this is what makes this fight interesting for me here is that firstly, Aung La En Sang is a legend in the one championship. He's a former 2-division MMA champion that is middleweight and light heavyweight. And like you mentioned, he's got a very, very good finishing rate at 86%. His last fight was very slick, even though he took a little bit of a skate legs there. The guy was dancing there, whatever. He basically came back and he got a submission. We were sitting down on his bum and landed a guillotine. I thought, a dash choke from the ground. And I thought, oh my, this guy's slick. But I watched a lot of his fights, and especially when I watched him when he was defending the title. Especially, and I thought he was absolutely amazing. The losses that he did take was against Rainier de Ridder, who was also a former 2-division champion in the one championship. Very, very good grappling kickboxer. So he took losses to that gentleman. Coming to this fight, why I'm saying it's interesting is because when I watched Shamil, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the first time that Aung La En Sang is going to take on a Dagestan wrestler. And like the three of us all know what Dagestan wrestlers are like. They're relentless, super aggressive, and once they got you down, it's almost impossible to get back up. And Shamil, in his last fight, we beat Fan Rong. That was you could see what I mean by the Dagestan wrestling, and also this ground and pound is absolutely sick, it's devastating. However, Aung La En Sang is a very good boxer. Stand-up game is really, really good. He's no newbie when it comes to the grappling there. How I see this fight playing out, if Aung La En Sang can stifle the takedowns, he has a very good chance, and also a better chance at winning the fight if he can keep it standing, because I think he's a better striker. So my pick for this fight, because I think Aung La En Sang has got both striking and grappling, I think he's going to be the victorious here, and I see him get it done over the 3 rounds.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know too much about these guys, but it's very interesting for me when somebody bets against that Dagestani
Dagestan.
wrestling type of. I mean, he's Turkish from what I can see here, but you say he's
Mm.
got that Dagestani type of approach, and it's always
Yeah.
interesting when I see somebody bet against that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very interesting. Jed, are you in the same boat here? Or
Yeah, I don't know, Shamil. He definitely looks like he's from the Dagestan world, the Tat
That's where he's
sector.
fighting from.
Oh, he's a,
Yeah.
he probably needs a visa. That's where they found this guy, Laman in the line there. So I'm gonna go with the guy that we know,
Homies.
Amlang Sang. Yeah, and I think he's probably gonna get it done. It might just be like a decision because
Yeah.
this is not like for a title or anything, right? It's like a three
No,
round
no,
fight.
no. Yeah. 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Mhm. But you can expect the fight for Aung Lang Sang because I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's highly ranked in the middleweight division. Like I said,
Mm,
he's the former
mm,
champion. And
mm.
I think he's like 1 or 2 fights away from getting another shot. So, and the middleweight champion is Anatoly Malikan now. So you know that
Okay.
Aung Lang Sang will be a new opponent for Malikan. So I think if he gets the win here,
Amalang
one championship will grant
Safanyang.
him that title shot.
Yeah.
all right, so Anlang Sang to get it done, and it looks like our panel is once again
Mm.
in agreement. So that's another one for the parlay, gents, and that means we'll keep it going now. And next up, we're going to the bantamweight for a Muay
Yep.
Thai bout, and here we have John Lineker, who is 6-2. His last fight out against Shinya Aoki, where he lost by round 1 submission. That was an MMA bout, of course. Asa Tenpal comes into this fight 2-1. His last fight against Rambolek Cho
Mhm.
Ajal Laboon, winning by third round knockout. So yeah, gentlemen, your thoughts
Mhm.
going into this one. Let's take it to Jetson. Jetson, what are you thinking here, bro?
It looks like it's gonna be one of those exciting barn burner type of fights
Mm.
because both guys like to stand and bang.
Yeah.
I don't know, Asa Ten Pao. It sounds very Mexican. Um, and if he is Mexican, then you know he likes to stand and bang. I've always been a big fan of John Lineker's fights, even though I don't like
Mm.
the way he really fights. I just like watching his
Mm.
fight. At 100 mile an hour, somebody's getting
Yeah.
finished. Somebody's
Yeah.
getting finished here. Hands are stone, John Lineker, and he's from Brazil, and he kind of reminds me of like a mini Glover. He's like a son of Glover. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's very fun. He's got a good, personality. He's got a big character as well. He likes making jokes and
Mm.
he likes to fight. So I'm gonna go with John for the win.
John
Yeah.
Lineker for the win. Jedi,
Yeah,
no surprise,
Brazil.
going with Brazil.
Yeah.
Ross, your thoughts, please. Are you also with Brazil for this one, or feeling a bit
Not quite,
of?
eh?
Mm.
Not quite. The thing with John Lineker, firstly the UFC, excuse me, the one championship did him dirty in his last fight, fighting against Shinya Aoki. He didn't have to make him make that fight. That was very short notice.
Mm.
Not his weight
And
class. Shinya
like
Aoki was like 4
2 days.
weights above him. Yeah, it was just it was a whole shambles. So no one should take that last fight for
Dude,
John
he was
Lineker.
chilling in the warm ups,
Yeah,
videoing the stuff, and they asked him, Do you want to fight? And the
yeah,
next day he went to fight.
yeah. So I wouldn't take that fight as a thing to look at John Lineker's fight because prior to that fight he was on a tear, and also going back to back against Fabricio Andrade for the MMA world title in bantamweight. I mean, and okay, he lost both those fights. The first one was a no contest, but I mean he was losing the fight. But before that, he was also on I think he was on a 5-fight win streak prior to that. So he was clean out the one championship. The dude was like beating a lot of people. Granted, that was in MMA. This is Muay Thai, so it does favor Asa Tenpao. Asa Tenpao. I watched his last fight against Rambolek, and it was an absolutely entertaining fight. I think coming into this fight here, Asa Tenpao has got the speed advantage. I don't think he has the power advantage. We all know Lanika. He's like a big
Nah.
guy's got a lot of power. you can't bet against Power when he goes against Lineker. But I think Asad Power has got the tools to beat John Lineker, and the tools is to out-volume this guy because there's no takedowns here, so you can expect no
I think
takedowns. If you
that
if you're out,
if you're not taking John down, you have to be super good at distance and you have to
yes,
be quick. You need
yes,
to
and
know how to move sideways very quickly.
yeah,
Because
and
the
throw a lot
only
of
way I see Lineker ever lose is through takedowns, and that's the only way the guys in UFC was beating him. The guy that won, also, because you know if you're gonna stand in front of that guy, you're probably gonna
yeah,
go to sleep. You know what I mean? He's probably
yeah,
gonna knock you out if it's like a boxing fight. So,
absolutely.
and Asasempa looks like a guy who likes to stand in the pocket.
He's quick also, man. He relies a lot on his speed and his combinations because he's got
So
more volume
yeah,
than
it's
Lineker.
gonna
But I
be
mean,
gonna
it's a
be
big risk.
interesting.
It's a big risk to stand in
Yeah,
the pocket against someone like Lineker because you know that he doesn't throw your sort of your 80% to 60% shots where he's tap, tap, tap,
dude.
and then throws. Everything is heavy,
Guys like Dillashaw,
right?
Cody, what's that other guy?
Yeah.
What's that old dude that you liked? That Bantamweight guy?
Dominic Cruz.
Dominic
Dominic
Cruz. All of
Cruz.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them. The only way that they could beat him was by taking him down because they know they couldn't stand in front. They couldn't box with him. They couldn't. They
Yeah.
couldn't box with John Lineker. That's why I
Yeah.
think John probably knocks him out if he decides to just stand there and trade with him. But he's
Yeah.
gonna have to run around and kick.
It's gonna look at it comes down to the game plans here because I do think Asad Empire has got the tools. Like he's very quick. He's in and out movement is fast. He throws a lot of combinations. He doesn't necessarily throw like one or two shots at a time. And this is a Muay Thai fight, so I mean there's elbows included. And John Lineker fades off, like especially because he goes so tanked in the first round, he goes all for the wall. And I think if Asad Empire can survive that and utilize a lot of deep kicks, just keep
Yeah,
the hell out of Lineker, take away his
Glover
gas tank.
Teixeira, bro.
And I definitely
Glover
think that
Teixeira.
Asad Tempa will get it done over the course of 3 rounds if he doesn't get knocked out.
Glover Teixeira, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Right, Jedi saying all that needs to be said here. So once again, split in the panel here. Ross leaning more with Asatin Pa. Jedi unsurprisingly going with Brazil.
That's you.
And
Okay.
fantastic fight on the cards. And let us know what you think in the comments for this one. Okay,
Is
boys.
that it?
We've got one more that we're gonna go to now. Sorry, Jed. But we're gonna go to one more fight here. And this is Maurice Abevi versus Samet Mamedov. Maurice Abevi 2-1 in the One Championship. His last fight against Zhang Lepeng, where he won by unanimous decision. Samet
Look at
Mamedov,
these guys.
relatively unknown from what I could see, but basically the write-up was saying that he's an aggressive grappler, which
Kazakhstan.
not really surprising.
And a white guy from Switzerland. I mean, a black guy from Switzerland.
A lot of black guys in Switzerland.
All the colors of the rainbow, guys. But love,
these
peace,
two guys look like
unity.
those dudes when you just start playing like any game. Then like that
creator character.
the created computer guys. That's those two guys.
You haven't unlocked
black
the
guy,
yet.
Black guy from Switzerland and Samak from Kazakhstan. Exactly.
Okay, so in this battle of the standard video game characters, how do you guys see this one playing out? Ross, what do you think?
Well, I mean, for Maurice Abevi, he's not that standard, even though he may appear to be. He's got a very, very decorated career. He's a champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world titles. He's got kickboxing world titles. And then coming into one championship, this is MMA, and he's 2-1 in the one championship. So not a bad start to his one championship career. I watched the Zhang Lepeng fight in the last one, and I mean it was a quite tough fight for Maurice Abevi. He was taking quite a bit of amount of damage. Lepeng was sort of dominating the fight until Maurice was able to take it back and win the judges over. But you can expect him to be a very, very explosive striker. These are very big welterweights, by the way. And Maurice has got a bit of a striking advantage there. You know, he throws a lot of knees for when people take him down because he doesn't necessarily like to be there, especially in the MMA game. He finds his advantages on the striking department. However, Samat is a very good grappler. Watched some of his tape outside of the one championship, and he looks to get takedowns very quickly, secure the legs, and then utilize the ground and pound. No, not afraid of looking for submissions. He's very good at doing that as well. So you can look for keys to victory from some mat would be obviously to get it to the ground, and I expect Samat to get the victory here because I expect him to tire out Maurice in the grappling exchanges within the first round. Obviously, the fight starts on the feet, but Maurice gets taken down quite a bit. And like I said, he's not really a wrestler. He's a BJJ practitioner. So submissions is his game, not necessarily transition wrestling. And that's Samat's game. And I think Samat's going to be able to tire Maurice out with transition wrestling and eventually look for that submission or even ground and pound finishing.
All right. So you're going with the grappler, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going with grappler.
For someone like myself, is this kind of the classic grappler versus striker match? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Fair is fair. And speaking of fair, Jedi Knight, what's your opinion here?
I don't know these guys at all. I've never seen these guys up until now. I know a little bit about countries, and a black guy from Switzerland versus a guy from Kazakhstan. I mean, come on, bro. Obviously, the Kazakhstan man is gonna destroy him in a fight. Silly. So I'm gonna go with Samat. Yeah.
Difficult to argue with that logic.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we don't really know too much about those guys, so not really too much that we can say as far as expert opinion. Okay, gentlemen.
Maurice is a good striker, guys. Like he's really good. He's
Switzerland bought him.
Yeah, he's a top striker. But yeah, if he gets taken down, yeah, I see him battling to get back up and getting the win. But Eddie, before you close, I wanna just bring up some honorable
They bought him
mentions.
from France.
From Holland, they bought him from Holland. I just want to bring up some honorable mentions on the fight card, some other fighters' names you can look out for. I'm gonna share my screen quickly, and then you can just bring me up to our screen, please. And then I'm gonna go through that name. So just two names on the that I want to talk about here is Hideyuki Tetsuka, very good grappler. He's on a tear right now. So people look out for that name. He's a good watch. And then also Hiroba Minowa. I'm not too familiar with the guy he's fighting, but in this fight you can expect it to be high explosive grappling as well as striking because Minowa is also on a tear. And if I'm not mistaken, he's one fight away from a title fight in the strawweight division. So the strawweight is also very stacked. You've got Jared Brooks, you've got Bokang from South Africa, and both these guys are looking to get a rematch at Jared Brooks. Joshua Pasha as well is in that division. So yeah, Hiroba, good name to watch out on the card as well. So yeah, I'll end it over there.
Give thanks, brother guy. Insightful as always, giving you guys a few fighters to look out for there. But I think that pretty much covers everything from our side, gentlemen. So as always, thank you very much for your time today, boys. Thank you all very much for watching, everyone. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think is going to happen in the weekend's fights. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. And I will see you. Yeah, okay. Sorry, Jet.
So since Druckers beat Easy now, in the finish, does that make him the GOAT of the middleweights? That's all we wanted to ask.
I think there's definitely a conversation to be had around that. But gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow for a UFC fight night. I think that's 98. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's Burns versus Brady, so we'll be back tomorrow recording that. And you guys should see that by Thursday, I imagine. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for your time. We love you all. Goodbye.